distress beacon had been silent for 300 years. Commander Vect of the Kryn Empire stood before the holographic display, his 4 eyes narrowing at the impossible data streaming across the screen. The signal originated from Sector 447, a dead zone where nothing had survived since the Scourge Wars. No ships ventured there. No colonies existed. No life remained. Yet something was calling. Analysis, Vect demanded, his mandibles clicking with irritation. His second officer, Thrall, manipulated the console with trembling claws. Commander, the signal is ancient. Pre-imperial frequency. The encryption matches only one species. He paused, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. Human. A cold silence filled the bridge. Every crew member froze. Humans were legends, ghost stories told to young soldiers. They had vanished centuries ago during the Scourge, when the Velkath swarm had consumed entire star systems. The galaxy had watched humanity's worlds burn. No rescue came. No survivors escaped. The humans were simply gone, erased from existence like so many other weak species. That's impossible, Vect said flatly. The humans are extinct. The signal is real, Commander. Thrall's voice shook. And it's getting stronger. Vect studied the display. The beacon pulsed with steady rhythm, broadcasting coordinates deep within the forbidden reach, where even the Velkath no longer hunted. His military instincts warred with his curiosity. Protocol demanded he report this to High Command. But Protocol also said humans were dead. Set course, Vect ordered. Battle stations. The Kryn warship, the Talon of Dominion, turned toward the coordinates. It was a vessel of conquest, armed with enough firepower to crack a moon. Its crew had crushed rebellions across 6 systems. They feared nothing. They should have. 3 days later, they entered the forbidden reach. The ship's sensors screamed warnings. Radiation levels spiked. Gravitational anomalies twisted space itself. Dead hulks of ancient vessels drifted in the void, their hulls scarred by weapons fire from wars long forgotten. This was a graveyard. Sir, I'm detecting a structure, Thrall reported. Ahead, bearing 217. On screen, something emerged from the darkness. It was massive, a construct of metal and purpose that dwarfed their warship. The structure was cubic, its surface covered in symbols that hurt to look at. Lights blinked in patterns across its face, mathematical and precise. That's a human station, Vect whispered. A fortress. Impossible, Thrall breathed. Nothing could survive here for 3 centuries. The beacon's signal suddenly changed. New data flooded their systems. Not a distress call. An invitation. Words appeared on every screen, written in perfect galactic standard. Welcome. You are expected. Please dock at Bay 7. Vect's blood ran cold. They knew we were coming. Commander, we should leave, Thrall urged. This is a trap. Scan the station. Full spectrum. The sensors worked for several minutes before Thrall looked up, his expression one of pure terror. Sir, there are life signs. Thousands of them. All human. What? The station is fully operational. Atmosphere stable. Power at maximum. It's like they never left. Thrall's voice cracked. Commander, they've been here the whole time. Vect stared at the impossible fortress. 300 years. The humans had hidden here while the galaxy tore itself apart. While species rose and fell. While the Kryn Empire claimed dominance over the stars. The humans had been watching. Open a channel, Vect commanded. Static filled the bridge, then cleared. A voice emerged, human and calm, speaking with an accent lost to time. Commander Vect of the Kryn Empire. Welcome to Outpost Omega. I am Director Sarah Chen. We have been waiting for someone to find us. Vec's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of severe stress. You're human. You survived the scourge. Survived? The human woman's laugh was soft, almost sad. Commander, we did more than survive. We prepared. When the Velkath came for our worlds, we weren't ready. We lost billions. But we learned. We adapted. And we ensured it would never happen again. Your species is extinct, Vec said, but his voice lacked conviction. That's what we wanted everyone to believe. While the galaxy fought over the ruins of our colonies, we built something better. Something hidden. We've been watching you, Commander. Watching all of you. The Kryn, the Zeth Collective, the Remnant Alliance. 300 years of observation. Thrall's console erupted with alerts. Commander, more structures are appearing. They were cloaked. There are dozens of them. Hundreds. The view screen changed, showing the true scope of what they'd found. The station was just one piece. Around them, an entire fleet materialized from stealth, ships of design and technology that made Kryn vessels look primitive. They hung in space like predators, silent and patient. Why reveal yourselves now? Vect asked, his voice barely controlled. Director Chen's image appeared on screen. She was old, her face lined with age, but her eyes were sharp and unforgiving. Behind her stood rows of humans in military uniform, watching with cold purpose. Because the Velkath are returning, she said simply. We've detected their vanguard ships entering the outer rim. They're coming back, Commander, and this time they're hungry for more than just human worlds. They want everything. Vect felt his legs weaken. The Velkath. The monsters that had consumed a quarter of the galaxy. If they returned. You came here for help, Chen continued. You don't know it yet, but you will. Your empire will fall within 2 years if nothing changes. We've run the calculations. But there's another option. What option? Sarah Chen smiled, and it was the smile of someone who had prepared for war for 3 centuries. We teach you how to fight. Commander Vec stood in the docking bay of Outpost Omega, and everything he knew about humans was wrong. The bay was enormous, easily 10 times the size of anything the Kryn Empire had built. Ships lined the walls in perfect formation, sleek vessels humming with power that made his warship look like a child's toy. Human soldiers moved with practiced efficiency, their armor reflecting light in ways that hurt his eyes. These weren't the desperate refugees from history books. These were apex predators. Director Chen walked beside him, her steps measured and calm. She was smaller than most Kryn juveniles, yet every soldier they passed saluted her with absolute respect. Vect had commanded warriors for 40 years, and he recognized discipline when he saw it. These humans had been training for war since before he was born. Your fortress is impressive, Vect said carefully, his translator converting his clicks into human speech. But teaching us to fight? We conquered 6 systems. We are not weak. Chen stopped walking and turned to face him. Her expression was patient, like a teacher addressing a stubborn student. Commander, how many battles have you fought? 47 combat engagements. I have never lost. How many against the Velkath? Vec's mandibles clicked in irritation. None. They disappeared before my service began. Exactly. Chen resumed walking, leading him deeper into the station. You fight other species like yourselves. Biological beings with ships and weapons, you understand. The Velkath aren't like that. They don't negotiate. They don't retreat. They consume. And they learn from everything they eat. They entered a vast chamber filled with holographic displays. Vec's 4 eyes widened as he took in the tactical data floating in the air. Star maps. Fleet movements. Casualty projections. The humans had been monitoring the entire galaxy. 300 years ago, Chen began, her voice hardening, the Velkath attacked Earth without warning. We had 12 billion people across 5 colonies. Within 6 months, we had 3 billion. Within a year, we had 300 million. We threw everything at them. Nuclear weapons, kinetic bombardment, biological warfare. Nothing stopped them. They adapted to every weapon we used within days. She manipulated a control, and the hologram showed footage from the Scourge Wars. Vect watched in horror as Velkath swarms tore through human fleets like paper. The creatures were nightmares made real, massive insectoid horrors that moved through space without ships, their bodies somehow surviving the void. They crashed into human vessels and consumed them, metal and crew alike, growing larger with each kill. We lost Earth, Chen continued, her voice emotionless. We watched our homeworld die from orbit. But we had enough ships to evacuate the survivors. And we had something else. Time. While the galaxy celebrated our extinction, we came here, to the one place the Velkath wouldn't follow. Why wouldn't they follow? Vect asked. Chen smiled grimly. Because this region has gravitational anomalies that disrupt their biological navigation. They can't find prey here. It's the perfect hiding spot. So we built. We studied. We prepared for the day they would return. Thrall, who had remained silent until now, spoke up nervously. How do you know they're coming back? Because we've been watching them, Chen said. She pulled up new data, showing movement patterns in deep space. The Velkath didn't disappear. They went dormant, waiting for the galaxy to recover, for new civilizations to grow. They're farmers, Commander, and we're the crop. Every few centuries, they wake up and harvest. Vect felt cold dread settle into his core. When will they arrive? 18 months. Maybe 20 if we're lucky. They'll hit the outer colonies first. The Zeth Collective will fall within weeks. The Remnant Alliance will last maybe 2 months. Your Kryn Empire. She paused, letting the silence stretch. 4 months, assuming you fight with everything you have. And you expect us to just believe this? Vect demanded, his voice rising. To trust humans who hid while the galaxy bled? Chen's eyes flashed with anger. We didn't hide, Commander. We survived. We rebuilt. And we created weapons specifically designed to kill Velkath. While your empire was conquering farming colonies, we were engineering solutions to an extinction-level threat. She led them to another chamber, and Vect's breath caught in his throat. Weapons lined the walls, devices of unknown purpose humming with barely contained energy. Human technicians worked on massive cannons that pulsed with light. Resonance weapons, Chen explained. The Velkath communicate and coordinate through biological frequencies. We learned to disrupt those frequencies. One shot from these cannons can disable an entire swarm, make them tear each other apart in confusion. We have ships equipped with stealth technology that makes your cloaking fields look primitive. We have soldiers augmented with combat enhancements that let them fight in any environment. And we have 300 years of anger waiting to be unleashed. She turned to face Vect directly, and he saw the fire burning behind her calm exterior. We didn't reveal ourselves to save you, Commander. We revealed ourselves because we need you. The Velkath numbers are too great for us alone. But if we combine your fleets with our technology, if we teach you our tactics, if we stand together instead of divided, we might have a chance. And if we refuse? Vect asked quietly. Then you die. Your empire dies. Your species joins the hundreds of others the Velkath have consumed. And humanity will face them alone, just like we did 300 years ago. Vect looked at the weapons, at the human soldiers, at the cold determination in Chen's eyes. He thought about his crew, his people, his empire. Pride warred with survival instinct. What do you need from us? He finally asked. Sarah Chen's smile was fierce and predatory. Everything, Commander. We need your fleets, your soldiers, your resources. And in return, we'll teach you how humanity survived extinction. She extended her hand, a human gesture of agreement. We'll teach you how to become killers. 6 months had changed everything. Commander Vect stood on the bridge of his ship, but it barely resembled the vessel he'd arrived in. Human engineers had torn through every system, upgrading, modifying, weaponizing. The Talon of Dominion was now a hybrid monster, Kryn durability merged with human lethality. Resonance cannons lined its hull. Stealth generators hummed beneath the deck plating. And in his crew quarters, Kryn soldiers trained alongside human instructors in combat techniques designed for killing Velkath. The transformation hadn't been easy. Vec's warriors had resisted at first, their pride wounded by taking orders from a species they believed extinct. But the first training simulation had shattered that pride completely. The humans had recreated a Velkath attack with perfect accuracy, and Vec's elite soldiers had been slaughtered in minutes using conventional tactics. Only when they followed human strategies did they survive. Now, standing before the tactical display, Vect watched as the nightmare approached. The Velkath vanguard had entered the outer rim exactly as Chen had predicted. 3 colonies had already gone dark. The Zeth Collective was in full retreat. And the Kryn High Command, after weeks of denial, had finally authorized the alliance. Director Chen's face appeared on his screen, transmitted from Outpost Omega. Commander, status report. Fleet is assembled, Vect replied, his voice steady despite his racing hearts. 47 Kryn warships, all upgraded with your technology. The Remnant Alliance has sent 23 vessels. The Zeth Collective managed to salvage 18 before their collapse. Total of 88 ships. Against a swarm of approximately 10,000 Velkath bioforms, Chen said calmly. Those are terrible odds. You said we could win. I said we might win. There's a difference, Commander. Chen's expression hardened. But we have advantages they don't expect. They think humanity is extinct. They think the galaxy is still using the same weapons they adapted to centuries ago. They're wrong on both counts. Thrall approached Vect, his movements more confident than they'd been 6 months ago. The human training had changed him too, made him sharper. Sir, scouts report the main swarm will reach our position in 4 hours. Excellent. Vect turned to his crew. All ships, battle formation Delta. Human protocols. Power up resonance weapons. Across the fleet, 88 ships moved into a formation that would have seemed insane by conventional warfare standards. They spread wide, creating gaps that looked like weaknesses. But Vect had learned that with the Velkath, conventional thinking meant death. Chen's voice crackled over the fleet-wide channel. All commanders, this is Director Chen. Today, we face an enemy that has consumed countless civilizations. They believe we're prey. They believe we're weak. They believe we'll break and run like every species before us. She paused, and Vect could hear the steel in her voice. They're about to learn what humanity does to things that try to eat us. We bite back. The human crews across the fleet roared in response, a sound that sent chills through Vec's body. These humans had waited 3 centuries for revenge. Today, they would have it. Contact. Thrall shouted. Velkath swarm entering sensor range. The view screen filled with horror. They came like a living tide, thousands of creatures moving in perfect synchronization. Each Velkath was the size of a shuttlecraft, their carapaces gleaming with bioluminescence. They moved without ships, their bodies somehow propelling through space, defying physics in ways that made Vec's mind rebel. Hold formation, Chen commanded. Wait for optimal range. The swarm approached rapidly, accelerating toward what they saw as easy prey. Vec's claws gripped his command chair so hard they left marks. Every instinct screamed to open fire, to run, to do anything except wait. 3,000 kilometers, Thrall announced. 2,000. 1,000. Fire, Chen said quietly. The fleet opened fire as one. But these weren't the weapons the Velkath remembered. Resonance cannons unleashed invisible waves of energy that struck the swarm like a hammer. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Velkath began thrashing wildly, their coordinated movements dissolving into chaos. They attacked each other, tearing into their own kind with mindless fury. Secondary weapons, Vect ordered. Kinetic bombardment, targeted fire. Railguns roared to life, sending tungsten rounds through the confused swarm. Each impact created expanding clouds of biological matter. The Velkath tried to adapt, tried to reform their coordination, but the resonance weapons kept them scrambled, their hive mind shattered. Fighters away, Chen commanded. From Outpost Omega, hidden until this moment, emerged a fleet of human strike craft. They were small, fast, and piloted by humans who had trained their entire lives for this single purpose. They dove into the swarm like predators, their weapons carving through Velkath with surgical precision. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, space was filled with drifting Velkath corpses. Of the 10,000 that had attacked, fewer than 200 escaped, fleeing back into deep space with humanity's message carved into their genetic memory. Vect stood on his bridge, staring at the carnage, hardly believing what they'd accomplished. His crew was cheering, but he remained silent, processing the magnitude of what had changed. Chen's face appeared on screen again, and this time she was smiling. "Well done, Commander. The survivors will carry what happened here back to the main swarm. They'll remember that humanity survived. That we fought back. That we're not prey anymore." "What happens now?" Vect asked. "Now?" Chen's smile turned predatory. "Now we hunt them. For 300 years, the Velkath made species live in fear. It's time they learned what fear feels like." Vect looked out at his fleet, at the Kryn and Remnant and Zeth ships flying alongside human vessels, united in purpose for the first time in galactic history. "Humanity, friendship, yes," he said, using the phrase Chen had taught him. Sarah Chen laughed, a sound of pure triumph. "Humanity, friendship, yes. And to our enemies?" Vect's mandibles clicked in what humans had taught him was a smile. "Death."